this video, I decided to introduce you to my latest super small side project called Super Simple Analytics. It's basically Google Analytics replacement that's very privacy friendly. You are running your data and basically you have complete control, right? So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. I don't really like that Google Analytics is not privacy friendly. You need those ugly GDPR banners everywhere, and plus it's fun learning experience. I know there is tons of Google Analytics alternatives that do not require those GDPR banners, etc. But I decided I want to try to build something by my own. So let's dive into it. It's a simple Spring Boot backend running right now on SQLite database, but can be changed later. And the front end is in Angular with Angular Material. So let's do super quick demo right now. npm run start. It will build all my stuff and we can dive right in. So as you can see, it's super simple analytics running on Angular with Angular Material out of the box. So let's log in. Great. So on the left hand side we have basically a menu that's containing all the websites I'm currently tracking. It's still running only on my local host, so the main source of traffic and everything is this page actually. So right now the super simple analytics is tracking itself. So if you go to page views, you can by default see it pre-selects the current month, and you can see the most views pages by unique visitors, etc. And you can see the visits over time. So basically yesterday I did 302 visits, today I did 4, right? So if I would click a bunch here, it would generate some more, like 13. Here if you click on the track button, it basically provides you what you need to embed into the website you want to track. So it's simple embed JavaScript with some data attributes, the ID of the website, and where is the tracking API actually running. If I click edit, I can see I don't have much more info than that about the website name and its URL. And if I click new, I can basically create new website. So if I do that, for example, for Google, and click create, I then can see the Google website on the left hand menu. If I switch over it and click tracking, this is my embed. If I would be able to embed it into Google, right? So API says the same. It's the 6th website I created, so it's the 6th one. Okay, and yeah, one last thing, I have very simple user management. 2 users created, I can change the password. Not much than this. Okay, so if we go back to the super simple, click page views, I now can see. So what data I'm tracking? I'm basically tracking every page view, even if it's like an Angular routing. If I click here, it's not the actual page view, right? But it will still get tracked as audience 5. So if we go here and search by audience, I can see there's 37 views. Audience and technology is still not implemented yet. I only have the page view thing. And this table is actually sortable. And for another thing I'm tracking is the unique users. That's basically accomplished that basically every time I'm sending a request to track the visit, or page view, I will check my local storage, and if there is a unique ID for super simple analytics, I will use that. If not, I will create a new unique ID. So we can basically see that here. So if I would go to application, local storage, so I have a session ID and user ID. So I can delete the user ID, right? And now if I would do the refresh here, you can see I have 2 unique users because I removed the user ID and it generated new one. And from now on, I count as a second unique user of this page. So this is basically the demo of the application in its current state. And now let's quickly look at the code. So I have a Spring Boot backend. It's pretty simple Spring Boot backend with some controllers that are basically the CRUD controllers. No, not that much logic. And for a database, I'm using SQLite with Spring Data. So this is all basically the queries I wrote. This is the most complicated one. Find all by timestamp between and website ID is. And even this one is automatically created by Spring Data. So not that much SQL magic is happening here, right? One cool thing about this is that Spring Boot actually automatically generates the OpenAPI files so that I can generate my front-end services, front-end everything around those controllers. So now if we switch to front-end, that's actually done here. All of this is automatically generated. So if I look at here, the model thing is automatically generated. So for example, the website, the interface is automatically generated from the OpenAPI specifications provided by the Spring Boot. All of this is done by this super simple generate sh script. So this is a thing, OpenAPI generated SLI. You can basically install that from via npm. Then you specify I want to generate text in Angular. You provide URL to the OpenAPI specifications, and it will generate all of this for you. So not just the model, but it will automatically generate the Angular services. So for example, you have let's stick with the website. You have this website controller service. It's already injectable, auto-generated, right? So you can just via dependency injection inject this into your code, and you can call the API methods, all of them, like add a new page, etc. So this is a huge help with working with the front end, as you basically have all the API clients generated automatically, and then it's just a bunch of components, right? So I have a component, I'm running Angular 19 with the standalone and with all the new fancy configuration. So I have my routes here for the basically login page, the tracking pages. Those are dynamic, and with the AuthGuard, the authentication is handled by JWT tokens. Again, pretty much for free with the Spring Boot backend, with the Spring Security integration. And yeah, so I have a interceptor in the front end that basically, whenever it finds the token, it intercepts all the requests and sends the token with it. So the login is basically just providing the token into the correct place, and then the interceptor automatically picks it up and sends it with each request, and the backend works out of the box with the tokens. And yeah, so this is the authentication. Then I have the routes, and for each route I have a component. So for example, let's do the page views one. So it's pages component, let's go there. It's the one where you have the table and the chart, right? So the table is component and chart is component. Again, pretty much simple. If you look at the component code, it basically gets from the page view auto-generated API service, it gets the data from the API. That's basically already have the tabular data and the chart data prepared. So the front end that just downloads that. Again, this code auto-generated and passes it into the tabular and charts variables in the component. And if you look at for example, the chart component, it just passes the chart component. Again, pretty simple chart.js. Not that much code here. You just call the new chart.js and pass the data. So maybe if you go back to the backend, it's one of the most complicated things there. If you look at the page view controller, this is basically all the magic, right? So that's the endpoint where you provide the website ID, you provide the from date to date corresponding with the front end. It basically does some date handling. So if you do not provide one of those dates, it uses now and 1 month before that. So it just uses one last month of the data if you do not specify the date. That's this. Then it calls the database and actually from the dates and the website ID gets the events, and then there are some stats done over the event, right? So here it calculates the table data, so the actual name of the page, how many views, how many of those are unique, and here it's doing the chart thing. So it's basically grouping the events by the dates and calculating again the views and the unique views for each of those groups. And that's basically it. So if we minimize everything, what would be the next thing here is to actually deploy this to somewhere, right? For example, to Splitline or something, that after that I can basically use that on all my websites. Another thing would be to actually create these another views into the data and maybe use different database than SQLite, but I quite like it and I'm not expecting that much data right now. It's again pretty simple, and Spring Boot actually allows me to switch to database pretty quickly. So I think I will be fine switching to databases later. And that's it. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.